The synapse is the connection of the one neuron with another cell, and you can have two types of synapses. One is electrical, the other one is the chemical one. In the electrical one, which is less common, one cell is connected with another cell through a gap junction, and that protein in gap junction is called connexon. So ion pass from one cell to another cell, and that a few cells are stimulated by a neuron, and then the other cells are stimulated through the gap junctions. And a good example is the smooth muscle and cardiac muscle. So all muscles cells are not connected to a nerve fiber. Some of them are connected. The other ones get the stimulation through the gap junctions. And the other type is called the chemical synapses. And here you have to have a receptor or a protein in the plasma membrane, and that protein requires a neurotransmitter. So here, that depends on the type of neurotransmitter. You may get a depolarization that may end up in action potential, or you may get an hyperpolarization that will not cause an action potential. So it depends on the type of the neurotransmitter. So here you have the two types of the neurotransmitter. One is called excitatory. So in excitatory, when a stimulus comes here, that will cause depolarization. So that will bring the cell membrane potential closer to the threshold. This is the threshold, closer to that. So that increases the chance of having an action potential. While an inhibitory one moves it further away from the resting membrane potential. So you see it's negative 70, now it's close to negative 80. So further away from the threshold. So this will cause hyperpolarization, which means less likely to have an action potential. So inhibiting transmission of information. So now the different types of neurotransmitters, so that they are named based on the type of the neurotransmitter that are released, okay? So the synapses are based on type of neurotransmitters. So this is called cholinergic synapses, and here is acetylcholine is released. And they are located in the central nervous system, in the connection between the two neurons in the peripheral nervous system, connection between a nerve and a skeletal muscle, and also in the parasympathetic section of the autonomic nervous system. There is also some part of the sympathetic nervous system that have cholinergic synapses, just a few, not a lot. And this is something that you have seen it before, a different image, but same idea here. So this is the nerve ending, and this is the muscle here. So you should have seen this in the chapter 10. So here you have a nerve ending, so an end of an axon, and this is the axon terminal here that contains mitochondria and also these vesicles. These vesicles contain neurotransmitter, and in this case, these neurotransmitters are acetylcholine. So once you get an action potential comes in this area, what will happen there? That will cause movement of calcium inside the cell. Once the calcium increase inside the axon terminal, that will cause fusion of these synaptic vesicles to the presynaptic membrane. These ones come and fuses to the plasma membrane here. And that will cause release of these neurotransmitters in the synaptic cleft. This is the synaptic cleft. And then you have to have these channels here. And these channels should have a receptor for that type of the neurotransmitter. So once they come there, they are connected to the these gated channels. This gated channel will open up and will cause what? Movement of sodium inside the cell. And when the sodium inside the cell, that becomes depolarization and action potential later on. So the rest of these, once you have these ones, you have also an enzyme here, and that enzyme will break down acetylcholine, and then acetylcholine is moved back to the synaptic terminal and then recycled. So they are made and then they are ready to be released again.